Hello everyone, you are watching Learn with lovejeet, and in this video I will be covering some concepts related to arrays using some problems. Now on line 6 I have declared an array named ARR that holds 7 elements of integer type. In my previous videos I have already told that when we initialize an array, mentioning the size of array is not mandatory. The compiler will automatically calculate the size of the array based on the number of elements. Now, on line 8, I have declared a variable named I of integer type and a pointer named ptr that will be pointing to some element that holds integer type value. From line 10 to 18, body of for loop is mentioned. Now here, inside this body of for loop, on line 13, I have a statement that prints the value of pointer ARR. So what is ARR basically? ARR basically gives me the base address of array. That is, this array will be beginning from some location in the memory. So that beginning address is given when we mention this name, array name. So this star is basically value at address operator. ARR gives me base address of this array and star will give me the value at that address. So the base address, I've already told in my previous videos that the base address of array and the address of the first element of array is same. So the value at this base address will be 10. So this line will be printing 10. Now this loop will print 7 times, will execute 7 times when I equal to 0, 1, 2 up to 6, and once it reaches I equal to 7, this loop will terminate. So this, when I execute this line, this 10 will be printed 7 times. So let's try to print this. So here 10 is printed 7 times. Okay. Now let's move on to the next line. Here in this line I have used different syntax to print the value inside the array. Now this is the array name, this is the syntax you may already know now. This is the index, this is the array name, and inside this square brackets I have used the I variable as the index. Okay, so when I is equal to 0, ARR 0, what will be printed? 10. Now ARR I is equivalent to ARR plus I pointer. What is ARR? ARR is my base address plus 0, that is base address, and star at base address means the value at base address. So the value at base address is 10. So 10 will be printed here. Now to print the value, I can also use the syntax I ARR. This is equivalent to this I plus ARR. But what is I? I is 0. 0 plus ARR, that is ARR is base address. So 0 plus base address is base address, and the value at base address is 10. So this is interpreted as this by the compiler, and as this will print 10, okay, value 10, so this will be, okay, so 10, 10, 10, 10. When I becomes 1, so ARR 1 is 20, ARR plus 1, that is base address plus 1, that is the next location, the location of the second element of array, which is the address of 20, and the value at that address is 20. Okay, so 20 will be printed here, same 20, 20. So let's try to execute this and let's see what is printed. See, 10, 10, 10, 10, then ARR plus y, I, that is ARR plus 1, 20, 20, 20, 20, 30, 30, 30, 30, and up to 70. Okay, so these are the different syntax to print the value inside the array at different locations, like an index 0, at 1, at 2, at 3. There are 4 ways to print the values at each of the index. Okay, now let's move here. Now what I am doing here, ARR basically is my base address of array. Now this base address can't be modified, it is not a L value, because using this base address only the compiler will be executing and it will be accessing the different elements of the array inside the array. So if I modify this base address, how will the compiler know where the array begins and what value it should refer to access different elements? So this base address can't be modified. It's basically a constant value. Okay, so if I try to execute this line here, I am incrementing the base address. That is base address, let it will be 1000. So 1000 plus plus. I am basically modifying the base address here. So I should get the error here, L value required. Because if I modify this base address, the compiler will have no way to refer to the starting location of the array, and using the starting location only, it can refer to different elements of the array. Once this base address is updated, the compiler will have no way of accessing or referring to the different elements of array. So this is a prohibited operation. Okay. Now, next, here I have declared an array named ARR1 of integer type of size 30. That is, it will be holding 30 elements of integer type. Here I have defined the first element, that is the element on index 0 to be 10, and the element on index 29, that is the last element, to be 29. Okay, the other elements will be equal to 0. Now inside this printf statement, what I am doing, first I am printing the value at the base address, that is ARR1. Mentioning the array name gives me the base address, and value at this base address is 10. So this will be printing 10. Okay, now this ARRI plus 29. Basically ARR1 is my base address. ARR1, that is base address, plus 0 give me the first element. ARR plus 1 give me the second element, and ARR1 plus 29 give me the last address, that is the 30th element, the address of the 30th element. Okay, now star at this address of 30th element give me the 30th element, which is 29. So ARR1 plus 29 is the address of the last element, and star will give me the value at this address. So that will be 29 plus ARR1 plus 0. This is basically the base address only, and value at that base address is 10. So this should print 29 plus 10, 39. So what will be the value printed here? This will print 10 and this will print 30. Let's execute, and here 10 and 39. So ARR1 value at this ARR1 is 10, so 10 will be printed here. 29 plus 10, 39 is printed. Okay, now let's execute next line. Okay, so here I have defined on line 8 a pointer type variable of integer type. Now inside this, to this ptr pointer, I am assigning this address of 0th element of array ARR. What is ARR array? This array having 7 elements. Okay, so base address of 0th element. How this line is interpreted by the compiler? Basically ARR0 is equivalent to star ARR plus 0. ARR plus 0 is base address of ARR, and value at this base address is 10, and using this address operator, that is address of element 10, I will get the address of value 10, and I am assigning this address to pointer variable ptr. Now inside this for loop, what I am doing, this for loop will execute 7 times from I equal to 0 to I equal to 6. Now inside this for loop, what I am printing the value at the address stored by ptr. Okay, so ptr is storing address of 0th element. Okay, so first 10 will be printed. Now ptr will be incremented by 1. That is, ptr is storing base address of array ARR, and when I add plus 1 to that base address, I will be pointing to the next address of next element. So same is happening here. ptr plus 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 is equal to, that is ptr equal to ptr plus 1. ptr is storing base address plus 1, that is the address of the next element. Okay, so now ptr will be storing the address of the next element. The next element is 20, so it will be storing the address of element 20. And when I execute this ptr printf line again, so 20 will be printed, and then ptr will be again incremented, then it will be pointing to 30, and then 30 will be printed, then 40, 50, 60 up to 70. So let's execute this. See, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay. Also see here that when I try to here, when I try to increment the base address of array, error was shown. Okay, because the compiler was losing the reference to the array by modifying the base address. However, in case of ptr is basically a pointer, is basically a variable. Variable means its value can change. So ptr holds the base address, and then I am modifying the base address by incrementing its value on each turn, on each increment of I. Okay, variable I. So in case of ptr, when it is holding some base address of array, operations like increment and decrement are allowed. Okay, now here line 7, let's execute this code on line 38. Here what I'm doing, I'm printing the size of array. So I'm printing the size of this array. Here there are 7 elements, and also each element is of type integer. Now suppose that integer takes 4 bytes, so 7 into 4, 28. So what should it print? 28. Okay. 28 is printed. Now let's move on to next problem. Here what I'm doing here, I have defined an array named arr that holds 7 elements, a variable I and a variable C initialized with value 5. Now from line 10, body of for loop starts, and this for loop will execute 5 times from I equal to 0 to I equal to 4, and once it reaches 5, the loop will terminate. Now inside this for loop, what I am doing, I'm calling a function named func. Okay, so what I am passing, I am passing individual elements of array. Okay, first arr 0, that is 10 is passed. Let's make this 7 because there are 7 elements. Okay, so first arr 0 will be passed, that is 10 will be passed, then 20, then 30, then 14, then 50, then 60, then 70. Okay, first element of this, first parameter of this function func is the elements of array. Now the second element is address of variable C, address of this variable C. Okay, now let's see inside this function func what is happening. Okay, let's decompose this. Okay, so what is this? What is the meaning of this? This is star B equal to star B plus 2. Okay, in case of assignment operator, the execution is from right to left. So first this will be executed, and then the value is assigned to A. So first this statement is executed. Now star B, when I execute this for loop first time, then I equal to 0 and address of C is passed. Okay, C holds 5. So star B means 5. Okay, so here star B means 5. 5 plus 2, 7. So 7 is assigned to this value. 7 is assigned to the address that B holds. B holds the address of C. Basically, I am passing the value by value using the call by reference concept. Okay, I am passing the address. So whatever changes that are happening inside this function func, those will be having the effect on the actual value that C points to. So here star B equal to 5, 5 plus 2, 7. So this means, the meaning of this line is, just change the value that is present on the right hand side. Okay, assign the value on the right hand side to the value, okay, that is present at this address that B points. Okay, so B points to the address of C, so star B means change this value 5 to 7. Okay, so now C, the value inside C is updated to 7. Okay, now this 7 is assigned to A, but A is here passed by using the concept of call by value. So inside, in the call by value concept, whatever changes those happen inside a particular function, okay, those changes are basically happening on the private values. Okay, so the effect will not be visible on the actual values. Okay, so error I, what was it? It was 10. Okay, now A is assigned value 7, but this is local copy only, so this 10 will remain unchanged. Okay, let's try to print this. See, A is 10 and C is printed 7. When I try to execute this command after this call to func, ARR is printed is 10 and C is 7 because C is changed to 7 here. Okay, next time ARR I equal to 1, so ARR is 20. Okay, 20 is passed here. Address of C is passed, but now C is 7, so 7 plus 2 9. 9 is, this C is updated with value 9, so now C holds 9, but this A values are local. Okay, changes are local, so it will not affect the actual value inside the array. So what will be printed? 20 and 9. So 20 and 9 and so on up to 70 and 19. In each loop, each iteration of the for loop, 2 will be added to the value that C holds. Okay, so 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. However, the elements inside array remains same. Okay, so this is about the concept of, related to the concept of call by value and call by reference. The first parameter was passed by call by value and the second parameter was passed by reference. Okay, now let's move on to a last problem. Okay, now here I have declared a array named ARR, 7 elements, again 2 variables, one simple variable integer I. Okay, and then next is a pointer that will be pointing to some value that holds integer type values. Okay, now here inside this for loop I have initialized pointer ptr with value ARR plus 6. Now ARR, when I mention array name, but it will give me base address of array, so let it will be 1000. Okay, 1000 plus 6, that is plus 1 address of this, plus 2 address of 30, plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, that is address of 70. I have initialized ptr with address of element 70. Okay, and I have initialized variable I with value 0. Okay, now here I am testing the value of I is less than 7. Yes, so print the value ptr and inside square brackets minus I. What is equivalent of it as interpreted by the compiler? It will be pointer ptr minus I. Now ptr, what is ptr equal to? Ptr is equal to base address of array ARR plus 6, that is address of element 70. Now address of this 70 minus 0 will give me address of 70, and then using the star operator I am printing the value at this address. So what will be printed? 70. Okay, first time 70 will be printed. Now next time I is incremented, I is equal to 1, 1 is less than 7. Now ptr, what ptr holds? Ptr holds address of 70, address of 70 minus 1, that is point to this address of 60, that is this address minus 1 will print one element previous to 70. Okay, point to the location of 60, so value at this address is 60, so 60 will be printed. Then in the next iteration, address of 50, 50 will be printed, then 40, 30, 20, and when I reaches 6, so PTR minus 6, that is address of 70 minus 6 will give me address of 10. Okay, so value at that address is say 10, so 10 will be printed. So let's see what is printed here. So 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So these are some problems using which I try to explain some concepts related to array. Thank you.